Hello and welcome to another episode of Threat Update. I'm Kilian Englert, and joining me again today is Ryan O'Boyle. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Hey, Kilian. Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining again. I appreciate it. So, as is customary, we're here to talk about some of the most interesting things you've been seeing out in the field. I know we've talked a lot about the SUNBURST attack and the SolarWinds vulnerability over the past couple weeks here. And I wanted to check in with you. I know you've been doing investigations constantly. Have you seen any of this live in the field, or what's your experience been helping customers tackle some of this?
Sure. So we have been having a lot of these conversations, and at this point, we've pretty much come up with a pretty straightforward playbook on this. And that being said, we're trying to help organizations assign risk levels to themselves.
Sure.
Looking at a number of different factors of things that are involved with these types of events. And I think the nice thing with this strategy is that it could definitely be built out around other security events as well. So this isn't necessarily just a pure SUNBURST-driven practice. It can be applied elsewhere. And looking at things like, first of all, were you a user of the software that was impacted?
Right.
Have we had any impact by the vulnerable versions? If we're not using the software at all, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to disregard our security, but we're on the lower risk level. However, on the other end, if you're an active user of that piece of software and we had the vulnerable version in the environment for a period of time, that puts us in the higher end of the risk category.
Right.
And, of course, we want to prioritize looking at some of these IOCs. And if we indeed find some of the IOCs, again, that's continuing to increase our risk. So coming up with a strategy that can be applied not only just to this one event, but also to others that might be following in the future, I think it's been pretty successful.
That's awesome. I did want to bring up one kind of interesting thing. I know we've touched on this in a couple different places before, but it seems that using DNS as a command and control channel or as an exfiltration channel is the kind of attack du jour lately. Can you walk the audience through why that seems to be such a hot topic right now?
Sure. Well, number one, it's accessible. Everybody has it. It's hard to block. And it's also hard to monitor because you might, an enterprise level organization might have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of DNS events every day. So you need some sort of automation in place in order to analyze it and get effective results out of it when it comes to logging and picking up detections. And again, from the attacker's perspective, it's easy. So it's a great vector for them.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to touch on too is some of the attacks they use around that. I know if we find one like the SolarWinds one, the known ones, you can sinkhole that domain. But what are some ways that attackers get around that or try and get around that?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly sinkholing and blocking domains, but from an attacker's perspective, they can just create a new one, spin a new domain up. We're also seeing more sophisticated threat actors use things like DGA, for example, domain generation algorithm, where they might have a whole list of domains and shuffle through those over the course of days, weeks, or even hours, minutes, seconds, things like that. So it's pretty easy for attackers to get around the filtering.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting challenge, again, because it is so pervasive. So hopefully the audience listening found this informative and interesting. Sounds like automation and having some way to monitor all of this volume of data is really key to helping stay on top of this and just detect it in the first place. So Ryan, I really appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us a little bit about this. Thank you all for watching as well. We appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider giving us maybe a like or throwing a comment in there. Ryan and I both definitely appreciate that. And of course, if you're not subscribed, please, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps. That way you'll get notified when we release new great content like this on a regular basis. So Ryan, thank you so much for joining. Thank you all for watching. Take care.